new creation. Hello, Malcolm here, and welcome to this series on a new creation. It's episode 524 of Quiet Time Coaching. It's part 16 of the new creation series, and it's part 6 of new creation, new change. Today, some more thoughts on how God changes us. We're going to take a look at some practicals of spiritual growth put forward by Richard Foster. I've put links in the show notes to his bio and links to some helpful articles, and also his wonderful book, Celebration of Discipline, which quite literally changed my life. Foster offers a list of 12 spiritual disciplines outlined in the picture in the show notes, but I'll list them quickly here. They are meditation, submission, prayer, service, fasting, confession, study, worship, simplicity, guidance, solitude, and celebration. Now, his teachings in this area offer a modern take on ancient practices, and they're designed to help us to grow closer to God. And we're not going to unpack all the disciplines today. You should read the book. Seriously, please do. Do yourself a favor. But we will explore some key principles that help us with the specifics of the areas he delineates. Firstly, spiritual disciplines require self-discipline, but self-discipline is not what changes us. See, Richard Foster's approach to spiritual disciplines isn't about self-discipline as such. You see, self-discipline can only take you and me so far. It doesn't have the power to conquer habitual sin or to bring about deep, lasting change. For that, we need something more profound. We need inner transformation, and that's where God steps in. See, righteousness is a gift from God, Romans 5:17. So let's think about how we align ourselves to receive this gift. That's where spiritual disciplines come into play. They're not about passivity. They're not about self-effort. Instead, spiritual disciplines place us in a position where God can do his transformative work within us. Think about them as invitations to access the power of God in our lives. So by practicing these disciplines of study or worship or service or prayer or meditation or whichever one you choose, by doing that, we're cooperating with God and opening ourselves up to his grace and strength. Secondly, delight in God and the spiritual disciplines will delight you. Foster teaches that the more we delight in God, the more our desires change to align with his. And as we grow in our relationship with him, our hearts begin to mirror his. Our desires start to reflect his desires. Psalm 37 verse 4 takes on a new light in this concept. Take delight in the Lord. He will give you the desires of your heart. Maybe it's because he's going to be transforming our heart to have his desires. There's a kind of a virtuous circle of delights going on here. Now again, remember, engaging in spiritual disciplines isn't about passing a test or meeting a set standard. Foster encourages us to see these practices as a playground, a laboratory, a space to experiment, to explore, and to experience God's freedom and joy. Jesus wants to set you free. He wants to set me free. But often, you and me, we make it harder than it needs to be. So much of spiritual disciplines is about submission, in trust, and joy. So to wrap up, take a moment to consider, is there a particular spiritual discipline that God might be inviting you into right now? One of those 12 I read earlier. You'll find them in the show notes. Perhaps it's prayer, fasting, study, something else. Listen to that gentle nudge from the Spirit and explore what God might be leading you toward, and then see how he helps you grow. So as you go about your week in the next few days, I'd encourage you to embrace a spiritual discipline with a heart full of curiosity and openness. Allow God to work within you and transform you from the inside out. Next week, we're going to wrap up this focus on how we change before moving on to what it means to follow Jesus. I do hope and pray that between now and then, you'll find spiritual disciplines to be a source of joy as well as growth, and one of the ways that God draws you closer to his heart. Until the next time, take care and God bless.